is the time of birth. The two previous Sabbats, the fall equinox and Samhain, are connected to themes of death and the underworld. At Yule, our focus shifts to rebirth and new life. The previous year dies and the new year is born. The winter solstice marks the shortest day and longest night of the year. Astronomically, the Earth's pole is tilted away from the sun, and as a result, the sun appears at its lowest point in the sky. This is technically the first day of winter, although many of us have already been experiencing darkness and cold weather for several weeks on this day, and it's really cold. For this reason, this solstice is sometimes called Midwinter. At Yule, darkness triumphs over light and night triumphs over day. It is literally the darkest day of the year. Darkness and night are not bad or scary. In fact, they are a deeply necessary part of life. At Yule, we celebrate the dark night as a time of peaceful rest. At the same time, we welcome back the light and warmth which will begin to return after this solstice. Yule marks the end of the dark half of the year and the beginning of the light half. Yule is all about new beginnings and fresh starts. This is the time of year to lay to rest the stresses and troubles of the past year and prepare ourselves for new things. This is also a powerful time of year for self-reflection, maybe even with help from a divination tool like tarot cards or a pendulum. The energy of Yule is connected to the birth of the divine child. This motif deals with the birth or rebirth of a sacred being and appears in religion and folklore from all over the world. It can be found in Egyptian stories of the birth of Horus, ancient Roman stories of the birth of Sol Invictus, Buddhist stories of the conception and birth of the Buddha, and Christian stories of the virgin birth of Jesus. In some European cultures, the birth of the divine child is connected to the return of the summer sun, which is born on the winter solstice. While birth is sometimes seen as something only for cisgender heterosexual people, many myths tell birth stories that break this mold. The Greek father god Zeus gave birth to two of his children, Athena, who was born from his skull, and Dionysus, who was born from his thigh. Mars, the patron god of Rome, was conceived when the goddess Juno was impregnated by the goddess Flora. The Norse god Loki both fathered and gave birth to children. These stories remind us that each pregnancy and birth is unique, and that birth is not restricted to any one gender or orientation. They also remind us that queer and trans parents have been around for a very, very long time. Yule is a time to welcome in the things we wish to birth in the new year, and to celebrate the relationships, families, and communities that bring us joy. It is a very festive holiday, with celebrations that literally bring light to the darkest night of the year. Yule has the energy of sitting around the fire with people you love and trust, singing songs and telling stories. There is some overlap between Yule traditions and Christmas traditions. Things like lighting candles on the nights leading up to the solstice, bringing evergreen trees or wreaths into the home, and exchanging gifts are all part of both Christmas and Yule. Sacred space for Yule features many symbols that may seem familiar to anyone who has celebrated Christmas. The space is decorated with boughs of evergreen and mistletoe, possibly even including a tree or a Yule log. Love a Yule log. Candles and other lights also play a big part in Yule celebrations. You could also include an image of the divine infant and/or the sun. Colors associated with Yule are green, red, white, and gold. This article first appeared on our blogging site, the Pagan Collective, your #1 destination for fun pagan things. It was written by Samwise, author of Lavender Witchcraft, combining thorough research, hands-on practical exercises, and thought-provoking discussions to help queer witches and allies build a magical practice that is authentic to them. Available from Moonbooks Publishing. This was our last video for 2025, and what a year it has been. Thank you for reading, watching and listening for these past 12 months. We have published some fantastic books. They are as follows. Forgive any pronunciational mistakes, I'm going to go for this in a 1E. Okay, here we go. January had Pagan Portals Madron by Kelly Bandia and Storytelling for Magic by Halo Quinn. February had Black Magic edited by Raven Digitales, The Ancient Art of Tasseography by Kylie Holmes, and Moonbooks Duets Rhiannon and Bloodewith by Jenna Tellinger. I'm doing this, right. March gave us Pagan Portals Magic for Empaths by Raven Digitales and Pagan Portals Hestia by Irazanya Moon. Into April we had Paid with a Kiss by Morgan Daimler, Pagan Portal Sabrina by Brett Hollyhead, and Wild Earth Wild Soul 2nd edition by Sky Otter. Stumbled a bit there. May time brought us Pagan Portals Mabon by Kelly Bandia. June then came along with Pagan Portals Y Mabinogi by Mara Starling and Pagan Portals Feminist Witchcraft by Susan Harper. Sorry Mara, messed up a bit. July rolled around, turned me 30 and brought us Pagan Portals Nines a Charm and Pagan Portals Brigantia. I didn't put the authors' names in there, I'm very sorry, look on the website. August landed and we had Pagan Portals Aranrod by Christopher Hughes and Pantheon the Minoans by Laura Perry. September swept in with More Whispers from the Earth by Taz Thornton and Pantheon the Irish by Morgan Daimler as I choke on my spit. October arrived with Pagan Portals Sage Advice by Dawn Leith Dorothy, Tales of Tatue Dadanan Volume 1 by Morgan Daimler, and Word Witchery by Katie Ness. Come on, teleprompter, keep going. November came with Prosperity Magic by Rachel Patterson, Pagan Portals Ain by Kelly Bandia, and Pantheon the Greeks by Irazanya Moon. Finally, though so quickly, December arrived, bringing us Divine Wounds by Ness Bosch and The Magic of Birds by Mav Savage. Did it in a 1E, few mistakes, I apologize for them. The year went quick as it always does, and if you missed any of those releases, go grab your copy now from our website. Thank you for the year, do consider becoming a member, subscribe for these videos in your feeds, and we will see you next year on a Monday. It's always on a Monday.